So how do we increase distributors' engagement with their business? Now, in 2016, nationwide revenue from direct sales was $35.5 billion. But that's only $1,734 in sales for each of the estimated 20.5 million people involved as direct sellers. And we all know that even with that number, all that revenue isn't generated equally by all distributors. Some estimate that like 90, 95, some say 97% of distributors do little or no business. Now, the high-ranking distributors who do produce results have thousands of people in their downlines, and they want to increase the performance of their teams, but how do they decide where to spend their efforts? How can they identify the segments of their downline where the training and leadership TLC that they can give will create the greatest revenue impact? In other words, how can a high-ranking distributor know the best people to spend time with to move the most product? So we'll look at business use case number 1 for AINM, which again stands for Augmented Intelligence for Network Marketers. This is where a high-ranking distributor gets help focusing on the highest impact areas of the downline. So in this conversation, AINM is talking to a high-ranking distributor named Meg, who has lots of people in her downline. Now, a couple things I want to point out. First of all, this is happening via text message because everybody gets text message, right? And if you're like most companies, you probably have some awesome, pretty, beautiful dashboards and reports in your back office system that don't get used as much as they should. Either because people don't want to spend the time trudging through that data because they just don't, nobody really enjoys that, or because they don't know how. And so this is happening via text message. The second thing I want to point out is in this first message, AINM is talking to a priority that Meg set at the beginning of the month. She said the most important thing for her was to increase immediate revenue. Now, it could be anything, right? There could be a number of things that she really wants to focus on. Here in this case, increase immediate revenue is the goal. And AINM says today, the biggest impact you can have is by spending time with the segment led by Maria Martin. And it gives a reason. It says this is because within 1 to 3 levels beneath her, 40% of people are within 3 to 5 recruits of ranking up. So like they're right there, you can really impact your downline's performance by spending some time right here. Now, Meg goes and does that, and then she reports back and says, thank you, I spent 2 hours with Maria and some of her leaders today. And this is really important, number one, because she comes back and reports what she did, but because she does so, AINM has the ability to evaluate that time and the results from that time and get better and better at delivering guidance to both Meg and the entire set of distributors at the company for the things that are going to drive the most impact in their days. Now, it gives her some more data. Remember last week when you worked with Mark Rafter? So he's had 4 distributors level up in the last 5 days. You also spent time with Rianne working with just consistently low performing distributors to see if you could do something there. Your time with Mark was more effective. And because Meg has told AINM how much time she's spending on doing these different things just via text message, then the program is able to tell her, hey, this is the stuff that's really working and the best use for an hour of your time. Okay, now there's another business use case. So that's for your high-ranking distributors, but what about the distributors who are still growing? The ones who are brand new, really want to have a business, or they're at a mid-range business, but they're not a leader yet who has a large downline. So the second use case we're going to cover right now is specifically for those people. In this conversation, AINM is talking to Angela. And she asked Angela for a goal previously, and Angela said, I want to enroll 2 new people in my downline this week. The program is now coming back and saying, look, you've been working on having face-to-face conversations with family members, friends. No new signups have come through from that. I would suggest switching to social media because you have 2,031 friends. You're likely to be able to exercise some influence there. Angela says, well, I'm just nervous because I don't know how to talk about this. What should I say? And AINM has some guidance for Angela at this time. So she says, because you're still new, the most effective message is not going to be about the opportunity and how this has transformed your life. It's going to be about your love for the product. You can talk about how excited you are for the opportunity as well, but keep that secondary. So say something like this, and it has a message there that that she might model for her message. And she says, great, I'll say that. And AINM reminds her, let me know how much time you spend posting today. And when she didn't get back and say, this is how much time I spent, AINM follows up at the end of the day and says, hey, how much time did you spend? Because we want to track this. We want to figure out what the most effective use of Angela's time is. The key is that this is artificial intelligence. And so it will look at the data that it gets back and get smarter and smarter about the recommendations it makes for the entire group of distributors and for each distributor individually. So for Angela, it can say, look, Angela, you spent 2 hours posting and you did that for 3 days and you got a recruit. That's 6 hours. Now, when you spent 12 hours talking to family and friends, you got nothing. So let's continue to focus on this. And other people who are just like you, who have a similar size Facebook following and maybe have other attributes in similarity with you, they also get the best bang for their buck by posting on Facebook. So using a lot of data, this is personalized advice. This is not just a set of steps that are supposed to work for everybody throughout the downline, right? Because we know that doesn't work. And there have been applications in the past that just had some scripted, like, hey, here's your 30-day onboarding, and it was the same advice for everybody. And those typically have not worked. This is very different, and it's based on a person's individual situation and on what's going to move the needle for them, based on what has moved the needle for people like them.